And we've put up the video boards, our video board, so that everybody can see what we're doing. In case you're back farther, then you'll be able to see what's happening here at the podium and a lot of the things that we're talking about today. I want to thank all of you for coming. My name is Andy Rent, and I am really proud to be a part of this and on the Vibrant campaign and the marketing committee, and it's been my pleasure to help. And this thank you for, this is really a great turnout considering the weather and everything else in the world that's happening in town today, and all of the different announcements and stuff. And I do want to put out big kudos to the Campaign Marketing Committee. Special thanks to Chris Galante. Where's Chris? I don't know. He's wandering around somewhere. But Chris deserves a big round of applause. He's done a wonderful job. He is the most organized person in the world. I'm starting to put my toothbrush in the same place twice now. Just because of Chris. I'm also involved in Clark because my mother-in-law is a resident here, Jean Neal, and she's been here for a while. I affectionately call her Mean Jean. She's a wonderful lady, and I always get a kiss from her. And she is 96 years old now and was living independently for a long time. She's in assisted living at the moment and doing fine, but she's here because her entire bridge club was here at the time. So she decided that, hey, this is a good place to go, and I don't have to drive, you know. So she moved in several years ago, and we got to know Clark better. You've heard of Clark, you were aware of Clark, but it was sort of this enigma out there. It was Clark. What do they do? And then you get a chance to visit with the people. You get a chance to visit with the staff. And you get a chance to visit with the caregivers, and you realize what a special place Clark is, and we want to be able to continue that. So in my short, but small little way, if I could help at the same time, then that was appealing to me. There's another person that's been helping for a long time, a number of years, and we're almost going to say goodbye to him, but not tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO of Clark is Bob Pearl.
Thank you so much for joining us as we launch our Vibrant Community Campaign, Remember, Renew, Reach Out. In this campaign, we focus on our benevolent care promise, on premier dementia services that extend our life enrichment program throughout the continuum, and on renovations that are ready to begin in September. This is a very special day because this is a special campaign for a special place, Clark Retirement Community. While there are many things I would like to share with you, I decided on just one topic for today, the joy of asking. I was so excited when we began this campaign in the fall of 2012. However, I could not have imagined how wonderful it would be to meet with donors who were so generous and who held Clark and its mission in such high regard. One of my first calls was to a couple who have been involved with Clark Retirement Community for a very long time, as church members, as family members when their mother was a resident, as board members, as volunteers, and now as residents themselves. Yes, they were involved in every imaginable way. Their commitment to Clark has been over the top. I believe they knew that I would ask them for a large gift. I do not believe they expected that request to be as large as it was. I asked them for $500,000, and they said yes. They have asked that their gift be anonymous, lest they be thought of differently by their friends and neighbors. A few days later, I called on another couple, relatively new residents at Clark. While their involvement with Clark had been shorter, they were extremely engaged in day-to-day life and had demonstrated wonderful generosity from the moment of their arrival. I believe they were prepared to give $50,000 to the campaign. However, I asked them for $150,000. And within a few weeks, they figured out a way that they would be able to give $150,000. Within the past few months, we have had the opportunity to make formal presentations to prestigious foundations in our community, outlining our case for support that what we are prepared to do will have a significant impact on the lives of people inside and outside of the walls of Clark Retirement Community, into the greater Grand Rapids community and beyond. These foundations receive numerous requests and must turn many down. They said yes to Clark. About 1 month ago, I met with a long-time resident who has been a faithful supporter of Clark. I asked her for $50,000 for our Vibrant Community campaign. She considered this request very thoughtfully. Then she shared with me that while she could not give $50,000, she would be happy to give $25,000. That is a major contribution, and I am so grateful that she responded so positively. I have asked for gifts large and small, and I am so grateful for every single gift that we receive. For every gift is vital to the success of this campaign. I met with many of you before we started this campaign to ask if you would be a part of this effort as cabinet members and as contributors. You saw the need, you have been touched by Clark in some way, and you said yes. There have been few times in my long history here at Clark where I have experienced greater joy than I have experienced in the joy of asking. The response to this campaign has been a tremendous affirmation of the work that Clark has done for over 107 years and is going to continue to do because of available funding from this advancement campaign. As great as my joy has been in asking, the joy of those saying yes, the joy of giving, has been 10 times greater. So once again, thank you for joining in this celebration of giving. Now, would you please join me in prayer? This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us be glad and rejoice. God of all giving, we thank you for this day, for this celebration of generosity. We thank you for this celebration of yes. We thank you for helping each of us understand that it is in giving that we receive. Thank you for being the source, the God of all gifts and giving. Amen. And now it's my honor to introduce to you one of our honorary chairs, Fred Keller.
Well, thank you, Bob. It's really such an honor to be a part of this noble purpose of Clark. It's impressive how Clark has gathered so many talented folks and supporters. I understand there's over 70 volunteers on the campaign cabinet alone. It's really a team effort that makes this kind of thing happen. You know, I have so many wonderful memories of Clark. It goes back to, for me, it goes back to the 50s. When my mother would ask my sister and I to tag along and visit Inez Holding, who was a resident that lived here for at least, I don't know, somewhere around 40 years, I think. Inez was a great friend of the family, and later my grandmother moved into Clark, so we had more frequent visits as well. And even later, my father learned that the leadership at Clark was facing some difficulties. And it was up to him, in his mind, to be able to help them with their financial and their organizational structure. And he did so. And he did it, I'm hearing all these stories from one side, so this is my father's version of this. But it was nevertheless, it was a passion of his. And so he consolidated, one of the things they found was they had benefactors with accounts over several areas. And by consolidating them and getting them in one place, and then by going to the bank and getting a loan, they were able to have a very well-functioning operation. And he conducted a national search, or the leadership at the time conducted a national search, and they found this wonderful young man, Bob Pearl, to lead this effort. And he was so proud to be able to say that he found this young Catholic man that was going to be okay in a Methodist facility. Did I blow your cover, Bob? He loved that Clark, and he was also convinced that there was a first mover advantage. As an innovator, my father really believed in taking advantage of first mover opportunities, and there was new technology that could be utilized. And he thought about it as the possibility for Clark to be known for something other than just benevolent care, but this way in which you treat people in the care of the facility. The idea of the dignity of belonging to a neighborhood. This idea that has been expressed in what is now called the Fred M. Keller Center. He called on his friends to contribute to the campaign, among them the Padnos brothers, and contribute they did, not only their money, but the wonderful sculpture that Stuart did out here in honor of my father for labeled The Teacher. And my father was determined to garner some additional room for Clark. One campus was not enough in his mind. We needed to have more. He actually went out and bought a piece of property proactively, prospectively, and I went with him to the township, and when nearby neighbors equated the idea of Clark Retirement Community to a hospital with sirens blaring in the middle of the night, he was undaunted and decided to trade that property for some property on Burton and East Paris. But he was beat to the punch by Calvin, who wanted that for their athletic fields. So the third attempt was the charm, and that's the one that we now know as Clark on Keller Lake. It's an understatement to say that my father loved Clark. He poured his heart and soul into this place. And I'm grateful to be able to share a little bit of this stories about what Clark meant to him and my mother. When it came time for my mother and father to move in, my mother couldn't wait to move out of their condominium into something more smaller and a little more manageable. And, they were well cared for. My father lived to be 94 and saw Clark become a world-class retirement community. And in his heart, he knew that he had made an investment, and a good investment, in a place that was going to be living the dream that he had for this place, which was to be not just an ordinary retirement place, but some place that was extraordinary. My mother continued to live here until her 97th birthday, and just this past week she would have been 99. In fact, her birthday is June 9th. Both loved Clark for what it stood for, personal, loving care, and how it was run with skilled staff and thoughtful leadership. Both would be even more proud of the future direction of Clark, to be making its mark in an area that got its inspiration in the Keller Center neighborhoods and contributed to the state-of-the-art in elder care into the nation. We are investing in a world-class facility with world-class care and with world-class leadership. This is a model for our community and, frankly, for the nation. My father could not be more proud of his investment in Clark's vibrant community. I want to thank you all for all that you have done to bring it to this point, and I want to stay with you through all this next phase, the community phase, the more open phase, and I can't wait to hear the news later on today. But if you would join us now in listening to this very important video, it's a premiere showing, the absolute world premiere of this movie, this show that Class Quant and the Grand Rapids Community College has put together about our vital and vibrant and inclusive Clark. Thanks.
What does it mean to be vibrant? What does it mean to feel vital? What does it mean to be inclusive? Vital, vibrant, inclusive. That's what it means to be a resident at Clark. That's what it's always meant. And with your help, we can make sure that Clark continues to set the standard that allows seniors and their families to live life to its fullest, inclusive of any challenges that come along the way.
Your life, your circle of friends, your world can be as big as you want it to be or as small as you choose it to be. And the only person who makes that decision is you.
It is possible to get yourself very much involved at Clark, very much involved outside of Clark, but you also can have those down times when you can just go to your room and close the door and just do whatever you want to do, in your jammies or not.
We've been married 52 years, and she has been here at Clark on Keller Lake for 4.5 years. We had already been out here, see if we could get her to go in the less severe part, and she feels like this is where she belongs.
There is a wide spectrum of needs and lifestyles that Clark supports because there is a wide spectrum of people in our community. Whether you're an active, independent resident or someone who requires greater assistance and care, we are committed to helping you live your life to its fullest. This has been our approach for over 100 years.
Clark is not just a normal kind of retirement community. What many people don't understand is its leadership position. And it really started with this rather new facility that actually my father was very involved in, that created a new environment for people to be, who are in critical condition, to be able to have a sense of dignity and a sense of being at home. And Clark's really extending that now to this area of memory loss.
Dementia is a chronic disease, and it's ultimately a devastating disease. People are robbed of some of the key elements that make them a special person.
I think all of these diseases are a combination of genes and environment. We can't do a darn thing about the genes we were given, right? We can do a lot about the environment we're placed in.
Clark is changing as our understanding of the aging process continues to grow, and because our society is changing. Since 1960, life expectancy has increased by over a decade, yet 60% of people over 85 have some degree of dementia. 60%. And we are not just living longer, we are more active than ever, which requires environments to support greater physical activity. Additionally, in part because we are living longer, seniors often run out of funds far sooner than they planned. At Clark, we refuse to ignore these new challenges. We choose to embrace them, and that is why we need your help.
These places don't exist just because they have customers or residents, as they call them. They exist because they have a foundation that makes money to take care of people who can't financially take care of themselves. So it's important that people give.
Clark's Vibrant Community campaign is thoroughly thought out incorporating input from all of our stakeholders and the best practices known for supporting seniors. We will continue to pioneer approaches in dementia care, shifting from simple caregiving to a life enrichment model. We will reach out into the community through Clark at Home to provide dementia resources for those who are still living in their own homes. We will transform our physical space and technology, removing limitations that come from outdated facilities and technology. This includes opening up current spaces, adding spaces for reading and games and internet access, and increasing space for socializing. We will modernize dining and kitchen facilities, add garden spaces, and make sure that all locations offer the safety and security that our residents need. We will help support our Benevolent Care Fund, which allows residents who have run out of financial resources to continue to live at Clark.
This is not a campaign to fix Clark. This is a campaign to build Clark to the next level. It's a campaign that just makes a lot of sense for a population that needs to have a place of dignity and being able to be a part of a family.
And I think that it's an honor, in a sense, to continue that family heritage, to continue to give to this wonderful place, to provide security for ourselves and for future, maybe my own children. And it'd be just wonderful to know that we've been a part of that we've made that happen for other people.
We invite you to grow with us, helping our community grow. We strive to remember those who preceded us, as well as our life experiences, to renew ourselves and our efforts to serve others, and to reach out beyond our campus to serve our region like never before.
Now that you have heard the story and can see the benefits to Clark, its residents and future residents, I encourage you to please join us in this effort. The goal of this campaign is to raise $7.5 million in order to make this dream a reality. We are off to a terrific start with more than 100 volunteers and our lead donors. It has been said, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. Please consider making the gift that you have received of this day even more special by taking part in the Clark Vibrant Community Campaign. And on behalf of the campaign leadership, I offer a heartfelt thank you in advance for your support.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As one of the tri-chairs for this Vibrant Community Campaign, it is my privilege today to announce some gifts, two gifts I will talk about today, and the other tri-chairs will be talking about other gifts. Every major campaign, like the one we're in the midst of, needs a major gift to get it started. We were fortunate to have the major gift from the Mary Ann Byam Trust. You saw Mary Ann and George in the video. Mary Ann has been living with dementia for a number of years. The last 4 years, she has resided at Oxford at Clark on Keller Lake. George, her husband, has been extremely grateful for the extraordinary care provided by the staff in Clark at Keller Lake. George said, and I quote, "I believe that those of us who have the ability to give to places like Clark so that the care will always be available. We can't take it with us, and by giving to Clark, we are helping to establish longevity for the kind of caretaking environment that we all want for our family and friends." Thank you, George and Mary Ann, for your wonderful gift. The second gift that I'm privileged to announce is from Dr. R. Jack Chase. Unfortunately, Dr. Chase couldn't be with us today. The Dr. Chase gift will be used to create the Donna Chase Art Gallery. The gallery will be located adjacent to the BK room, providing not only a showcase for art, but also provide a way to get through the BK room area. Donna was an artistic person. Her husband Jack remembers her fondly saying she could paint and draw. She always loved any kind of art. It was more than 20 years ago that Bob Pearl asked Donna to get involved with the display of artwork. And that was way before they had moved into Clark. It was her responsibility to find real art that could be displayed throughout Clark for the residents to enjoy. That collection that was started now over 20 years ago consists of over 800 pieces of art that are here in the Franklin campus and at the Clark and Keller Lake. Thank you, Jack, for making all this possible in memory of your lovely wife, Donna.
Thank you, John. I'm Karen Custer, and I'm a tri-chair of this vibrant community campaign. And I'm privileged to tell you about the Sebastian Foundation. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Thank you. The Sebastian family has a long history at Clark. John is a former foundation board member and served on the investment committee. John is also a cabinet member of this campaign. And many years ago, John's grandfather was a resident at Clark. The Sebastian Foundation has been very, very generous to Clark. They've made many gifts to Clark every single year since 1983. In 2007, they provided funding to transform a bathroom for residents with dementia at the Franklin campus into a beautiful garden spa. Heated towels, heated floor, air exchange, a DVD of relaxing music, just beautiful. People touring often say, I wish I had this in my home. And this sounds so great. I've been babysitting a 2-year-old granddaughter, so this really sounds great for the past 2 days. I would love to crawl into that spa right now. Thank you, Sebastian Foundation. And now wait, I want to continue. I'm sorry. Last month, David and John Sebastian came to Clark to learn more about the Vibrant Community Campaign, and were asked to consider a 6-figure gift, and they said yes. Thank you on behalf of Clark. Thank you. John Sebastian is in the audience today to my right over there in the corner. We thank you, John, and for your leadership and for your family's extraordinary support. Thank you. It is also my pleasure to tell you about the Claire and Barbara Tinknell gift. Claire and Barbara Tinknell have been married for 63 years. That deserves an applause. Congratulations. They aren't in the audience, but congratulations to them for 63 years. Approximately 3 years ago, they moved from a farm in Romeo, Michigan to Clark Retirement Community. They have a beautiful townhome here on the Franklin campus. It was a big responsibility, and we didn't want our children to have to worry about us in that way. And they were so happy that they decided to move to Clark. They're very active in the Clark community, although they are independent living and can easily make their own meals. They come to the dining room at least once a day so they can socialize and make new friends. Claire is often a greeter in our lobby where there is a funeral or special service. He's the choir director for worship services, and Barbara sings in the choir. She also volunteers in the library. They are so generous. From the beginning, they have been so generous to Clark. Claire told us they made this gift to the campaign because they see and can understand the needs of Clark. And we thank them from the bottom of our hearts for this generous gift. Thank you.
Good afternoon. The first gift that I would like to talk about is what I call a gift of love, another gift of love, a gift of spousal love. It's a gift from Dolores Kilborn on behalf of her husband Harold. And Dolores is here today with her son Jim, so please acknowledge them as you see them along the way. In 2007, Dolores and Harold Kilborn moved to Clark. Harold had outstanding dementia care here and had a very special relationship with our dementia coordinator, Chris Simons. And Chris is back over here, and I want to acknowledge Chris and thank her for all the great work that she does with our dementia program. Thanks, Chris. Chris says that Harold was a quiet man with a wonderful sense of humor. He was one of our first participants in the swim club, and he quickly learned that he could keep his balance when he played volleyball in the pool. Harold came from humble beginnings, and a family reached out to him at an early age, which started him quietly giving to others because of the help that he had received. Dolores has made many gifts to the Clark Foundation and also sponsors the Dementia Care Conference every year. Ever since Harold's passing in 2011, Dolores has been looking for just the right way to honor his memory. She says, "I wanted to use his money to honor him for giving so much to so many people, and also to provide more resources for people who live with dementia." So Dolores has made a major lead gift and named the dementia area on the 3rd floor the Harold Kilborn Center. Thank you, Dolores, for helping us enlarge our dementia space so we can expand our ability to provide premier dementia services. What a beautiful way to honor Harold, who will always be remembered at Clark. A heartfelt thank you to you for this gift. My next gift is a very special announcement. It's very recent news. It comes from Mr. Peter Wege and the Wege Foundation. And I want to tell you that we have just received news that the Peter Wege Foundation is giving Clark $500,000. How wonderful is that? Peter's beloved cousin, Corey Dubridge, lives at Clark, and she's here with her family today. Over here. Please acknowledge her and speak to her. Mr. Wege is very grateful for the loving care that she receives at Clark every day. The CEO of the Wege Foundation, Ellen Satterley, was expected to be here, but I didn't see her come in at all. No, she didn't? Anyway, she also is a dear friend of Clark. The Wege Foundation has sponsored our Pathway to Caregiving conferences for those caring for loved ones with dementia. The other two parts of Clark's campaign that have special meaning for Peter and the Wege Foundation are Clark's Benevolent Care Fund, the fund that provides for residents after they can no longer pay. This speaks directly to Peter's compassion for those in need. Few people know of the total generosity of Peter to the underserved people of Grand Rapids. Peter and the Wege Foundation are also very excited about the shared garden and lakeside pavilion, which will enhance the beautiful environment at Clark on Keller Lake. This will help fulfill Peter's passion and drive for the protection of the environment. We are so grateful to Peter and the Wege Foundation for this marvelous contribution. We offer our heartfelt thank you to Peter and the Wege Foundation for this most recent great boost to the Clark campaign goal.
Thank you, Tom. You know, every gift, regardless of size, and we've heard so much about our lead gifts, of course, but every gift counts, and every gift matters to Clark. All of your gifts added to these lead gifts that we have featured today are going to be an astounding figure when I announce it here in just a minute. I want to thank the campaign cabinet. The volunteers have been working so faithfully for the past 6 months behind the scenes and raising money. But now let's do, and we have our big band right over here, And yeah, we'll have a drum roll. Just wait. Did I ever tell you the time when I? No. All right. So let me announce the total. Here we go. With all the things, all the gifts that we have announced so far, $4,162,890. Don't you feel like you're in a telethon here? Call now. Pick up that phone. Make that pledge. But you know what? That's why we're here. We want you to get excited about the campaign as well. We want you to get excited about the opportunities that we have to make a difference, and you have to make a difference here at Clark. So please, won't you join us? The public phase of our campaign is beginning now, and our new website is live today, and that is vibrantcommunitycampaign.org. So if you have your iPhone, go to it right away. Make a pledge. Biggest one gets a T-shirt. vibrantcommunitycampaign.org. Over the next few months, we will be talking to you, reaching out to others, of course, and those who have already responded to our request. We thank you so much for giving and considering a gift to Clark as well. I want to thank, first of all, we still have some wonderful food from Applause Catering, and they deserve a big round of applause because Applause has done a wonderful job, and we still have some wonderful food. And Roger McNaughton and the quartet right over here, they've been providing the music. Do you have a name? Is that like the Nasty Four? Roger McNaughton's, yeah, Wonder Kids. Anyway, they'll continue to play. Please enjoy our hospitality. We have coffee, we have punch, we have water, we have wonderful food, and mix and mingle and say hi to your friends as well. Thank you so much for coming today, and our Vibrant Community campaign is now on the road. Thank you.